Hello.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. We're just going to give a moment to let all of our attendees file in here. And we will get started in just a moment. Thank you all for coming this evening. Just a moment. We've still got some folks coming into the room. Okay, looks like most people have filed in. Appreciate you being here this evening. Thank you again for being here. Hopefully you're in the right place. You are here to talk with us about Northville High School's early middle college program. My name is Aaron Boffman. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Instructional Services for Northville Schools. And I'm here this evening to represent the school district and provide any support and questions and answers that I can regarding the high school portion. But the majority of our evening this evening is for you to get a chance to hear from Schoolcraft about the program itself and to be able to ask any questions you may have. At the bottom of your screen, you will see a Q&A button. If you have specific questions that come up during the conversation or about the program itself, if you'll just write those in the Q&A, we'll answer those as we go or at the end, depending on when it makes the most sense. And we will try to get to all those questions. And if we may even use some of those to add to the FAQ that you received if there are questions that come up that we didn't cover already. Again, we appreciate you being here tonight, and we're hoping to give you some great information about an amazing program. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Stacy Stover, who is the Dean of New Student Experiences at Schoolcraft College, who's been working with us and partnering us on this early middle college experience. So Stacy, I will turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. And I want to make sure to mention the staff from Schoolcraft that are joining me this evening and give them an opportunity to introduce themselves before we jump in too far. So we have Dr. Lori Couture-Snyder. Lori, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Lori Couture-Snyder, and I'm Chief Student Services Officer at Schoolcraft.
And we also have Angela Ackman. Angela, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Northville parents. I'm Angela Ackman. I'm the admissions representative from Schoolcraft assigned to work with Northville students.
Thank you, Angela. And then we also have Laura Haldane. Laura?
Hi, everybody. Laura Haldane. I'm the coordinator for new student orientation at Schoolcraft, but also the early middle college program.
Thank you, Laura. So these are the staff that are going to be here to assist you and your students throughout the experience. So we wanted to give a chance for you to see their faces and get to know their names and how they'll interact with you. And we'll go ahead and jump in. Feel free to also put questions, as mentioned previously, into the chat so that we can respond to those as we go along. So first of all, what is an early middle college? An early middle college is assigned to this designation by the Michigan Department of Education. And it's an opportunity for high school students to take college classes and to earn a credential. It's one of the things that's really important is that they're earning both a diploma and a college credential at the same time. So in order to be deemed a college, early middle college, students could receive either 60 transferable college credits, an associate's degree, a certification, a technical certificate, or a registered apprenticeship. That's what the state of Michigan defines as an early middle college. One of the things I think sometimes comes up is looking for clarification on what's the difference between an early middle college, dual enrollment, and advanced placement. An early middle college program, as I just mentioned, is important because it contains the requirement for students to receive a certificate or an associate's degree. And it's in a structured model where the students are following a structured level of classes. In dual enrollment, it's a little bit more flexible in that it allows students to pick from different classes that they are interested in that qualify, but they're not going through a cohort model to earn a certificate. They're just adding in specific classes here and there. Advanced placement classes are classes that are taught at the high school. At the culmination of the class, the student takes an advanced placement exam, and based on their score from the exam, they may or may not earn college credit. That's kind of how the opportunities for earning college credit while in high school can differentiate. Why is Schoolcraft here? One, we're your local community college. As Angela was just mentioning, we have a very close relationship with Northville High School. And you can see there the number of students that enroll from Northville each year. So we do get a large percentage of Northville students enrolling at Schoolcraft. In addition, we were just recently awarded Best Local College from the Detroit Free Press. So we're pretty excited about that and want to make sure to share that and encourage you to take advantage of all that Schoolcraft has to offer. How are the SC Edge students doing academically in the other districts? We do have SC Edge, our early middle college partnership with other school districts. Currently, there's 21 students enrolled in the 2021 academic year. 11 of them are going to be graduates very, very soon. 2 of those are continuing as traditional students. 3 of those are getting their associate's degree. We've had 41 graduates since we began the program. And on average, you can see something we're really proud of, that is the students do very well academically with an average of a 3.48 GPA. So the students in the program are learning how to take college classes and learning how to do it well, and they're being successful as they move on. And that's really what an early middle college is designed to do, is to give opportunities for students to continue to pursue education and to get a credential along the way. How should you decide if an early middle college might be the right fit for your student or your family? One thing that we always like to really reinforce to families is that whether it's an early middle college or dual enrollment, it's important that the student and the family have some conversations about taking it seriously, because the student will be starting a college transcript, and a college transcript is something that will stay with students for the rest of their life. So in the future, when they apply for jobs, they'll always be listing that they took classes with us because it's a college transcript, and those grades will always be recorded. Also, will the college major benefit the student's goal? Is this something that your son or daughter is looking to do for their career, or something that's going to give them some opportunity to explore some areas that they're interested in? And we're going to talk about the programs we offer in just a few minutes. And then, as we talked about, students should be mature. We like families to understand that the content is taught the same by our faculty, regardless of if a student is in high school or if it's a non-traditional adult student in the class. The faculty don't actually get a list that says this student's, of high school age and this student might be 40. They just teach the class. So that is not a designation that is made based on student age or maturity. What programs are available through the SC Edge program? We have certificate programs, and certificate programs are programs that if a student was going full-time are something that they typically would complete in 1 year, because with the early middle college, the students are also doing their high school classes. The certificate programs would take 2 years, and that's the programs that students would do if they were choosing to do the early middle college for grades 11 and 12. And you can see there, and we're going to go through these a little bit more at length, but that the options would be business or computer information systems programming. If a student is going to do the entire associate degree, which if they were going full-time, it would be 2 years as a college student, an early middle college model, that's a 4-year program. They would start in 10th grade and they would continue past their senior year through what's called grade 13. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. And those options are business, computer information systems programming, and the criminal justice with the police academy. Where are the classes offered? Our program is primarily online at the moment. We're always considering other programs and other models, but currently right now it's an online program. In most instances, there are some instances when students would come to campus, but primarily it's online. Students will have the option through Northville to either do the classes at home or to go to the online learning lab that is offered through Northville High School to complete the classes. And there's a facilitator in the online learning lab as well. As I mentioned, though, there are instances when the students may need to come to campus, specifically that can be in the 13th year. Will students attend the classes during the high school? As I said, they're going to have some options. I know Northville is exploring also having some seminar support for students in the early middle college. And so if you have questions about that, then we can address those more at the end of this presentation. Will the classes count as both high school and college credit? That's going to be determined on a case-by-case basis, and that's something that Northville will be determining and will be communicating to each family that's interested in the SC Edge program. What classes will my student take? So students will take classes in the fall, winter, and spring semesters. Fall is typically basically September through December. Winter is January through April, and spring is May, June. There can be a little bit of fluctuation here and there by a week or two, but that's typically when those semesters occur. Now, the semesters may not 100% line up with Northville's start and end dates. So that's something that's important for students and families to consider as well, because there may be instances a few weeks at the start, break, or end of semesters when students would need to work independently. We will, however, be guiding students through the process of getting admitted, helping to select their classes and registering them, and really helping to facilitate making that as smooth as possible for each student. So we're going to go through each of the programs now so you can kind of get a sense for the classes and what it would look like. So if you were doing the certificate, as I mentioned, that would be 11th grade starting, and it would be doing 11th and 12th grades the 2 years. And you can see the classes that would be fall, winter, and spring in each year. You can see the designation at the bottom of the slide where M is a class that is going to be specifically applying to that major. T is a class that is designed to transfer. We always do like to give the caveat that students should talk to independent colleges that they're looking at and confirm transferability, but these are classes that are designed to transfer. Similar information now for the computer information systems programming, kind of laying out the classes that students will be taking. And if you are interested in reading about these classes and getting a definition of each of the classes, you can view that on our website. Go to schoolcraft.edu and you'll choose academics and you can read about each class and a description of the courses. Next, we have the associate's degree. Now, the associate's degree classes, like I said, are going to take 4 years. They're going to start in 10th grade, and they're going to continue 11th, 12th, and what's called an early middle college terminology, the 13th year, the 13th grade. So essentially what happens is most of the time the students walk through graduation just like every other student that is in their grade. For all intents and purposes, it looks like they've graduated, but according to the policies by the Michigan Department of Education, the students need to complete that 13th year to get the associate's degree, and they will continue to take classes that last year. There's also, it's important to note, one class that is required that is held for a high school class. That's what still considers them as being under the umbrella of the early middle college. So you can see in the 4th year, there's usually a math class held, and the rest of the classes are Schoolcraft classes, and the students would either be taking those classes online or coming to campus for those. You'll see a similar model laid out for the computer information systems. And we will have this presentation available as well if anybody wants to look through this more in depth at a later time period. And then the criminal justice with the police academy. And the police academy is going to be basically the full class for that 4th year. And that's when the students would literally be going through the entire academy, learning what they need to do to get employed at a police station. So how will your student register for future semester? We will help students with that. We have found over the years that it generally works best if we kind of help sign the students up to make sure that they get into the correct classes with the correct students, because we try to do this as a cohort model. Cohort means that the students would be going through taking the same classes at the same time. So our plan is that the students from Northville who want to go into the associate's degree in computer information systems programming would all be taking the same classes at the same time and progressing. So we want to make sure you're getting the right classes together. So we'll sign you up for that. And it makes it a little bit easier for students too. And we'll guide you through the book purchasing process and everything else as well. Can students start in the program at any point? Unfortunately, no. So you saw in the previous slide that it's a real structured curriculum, and it does take that full time period in order to fit in all the classes necessary to reach the credentials. So students would need to decide if they wanted to do the associate's degree program, which would start in 10th grade and would need to apply now in 9th grade, or if they wanted to do the certificate, they would need to apply in 10th grade to start in the 11th grade. This is something that we will be working closely with Northville on in terms of scheduling with the high school counselors as well. So students should definitely be talking with their high school counselors, letting them know if they're interested so that we can help align that curriculum between the two areas, between the Schoolcraft and Northville. If students are wanting to take other classes, dual enrollment is an option if it's something that you're not seeing on here that the student's looking for. And so we just mentioned that that's something that can be done instead of SC Edge, if it's not fitting in with the curriculum you're looking for. I already talked a little bit about the graduation with the high school class. And so if you're pursuing a certificate, you would go through the regular high school graduation because it's the certificate program you're going to be done at the end of your senior year. If you're pursuing the associate's degree, that's the one where you're going to hold off and you're going to have one more year of classes that are covered under SC Edge, which is a really nice benefit. It's just that then they're going to hold off and get their official high school graduation at the end of that 13th year. How do the classes transfer to other colleges? We tried to designate that on those slides so you could see for each program. We also have transfer agreements with colleges and universities throughout the entire state of Michigan. So you can definitely talk to our academic advisors and they can guide you on the transfer process to make it as easy as possible. And they're going to be helping you through that throughout the entire program to make sure. So if you know which school you want to go to, you can let them know that and they can be making sure that we are aligning you as easily as possible for that transfer. How does participation in SC Edge help you to save money for overall college costs? Well, you're going to earn approximately 30 to 60 credits, 30 credits if you're doing the certificate or 60 with the associates. And we're saying here 4,000 to 8,000. We think it could actually be a little bit higher by the time you added in fees and books. So it really is a substantial cost savings when you figure that these are going to be classes and programs that are paid for that the family wouldn't and the student wouldn't need to pay for later. Credits earned could then be transferred to other colleges and universities and would decrease the number of classes students would need to take at the four-year school. Or some of these programs are employable that if students just want to go out and start working, that's absolutely an option. Someone could go out once they get their criminal justice with police academy and get hired very easily. Our students are very, very well known and popular for their excellent education that they receive from our program. So employability is definitely an option as well. How does participating in SC Edge impact applying to another college or university? When colleges were first deciding how are they going to handle early middle college students, I think sometimes they weren't sure what are they going to do. Over the years, colleges have pretty much across the board decided that they're going to treat early middle college and dual enrolled students as incoming freshmen. And I say that in regards to scholarship. If your student's planning to apply for scholarships, usually they will think of them as a scholarship. However, I'm sorry, for a scholarship, they'll usually think of them as a freshman. However, always we recommend confirming with the college if your student has a specific place in mind. Never hurts to give them a call or an email just to confirm all those details. What are the costs to students and families that are participating in the SC Edge program? The classes, textbooks, and regular fees will be covered by Northville High School. There may be some fees for things like the police academy where there's some specific program related expenses. However, the financial obligations for any of those programs will be communicated by Northville way in advance so that families can make any plans. But at this point, pretty much the plan is to cover the majority of the costs for the families. I know Erin can maybe address some of that more at the end too, if there's additional questions. Where can my student get academic support during the program? The SC Edge students are entitled to use any of the services that are available through Schoolcraft. So that means they could come and use our learning support services with tutoring and mentoring, our academic success coaches that help offer workshops on test taking skills, final exams, etc. They can even use things like our fitness center and work out there because that's covered as part of their student tuition fees. So that is absolutely available to them. There's also a high school instructor that is going to be at Northville High School that students can go and get help from during the online learning lab. So that, as I mentioned previously, they can choose which level of support is going to work best for them. If there's technical support that comes up, like the student can't, most of the classes are offered through something called Blackboard, and it's an online learning management software system. So if for some reason the student can't access it, we're going to definitely make sure that the students have the resources to contact Blackboard, or obviously how to reach the online learning lab. We do have a mandatory orientation for students going into the SCH program. And during that orientation, we'll be walking students through all of the details of the program, how to access resources. Our goal and our commitment is for students to be successful. I hope you saw that at the very beginning by that high GPA. And so that's what we're here for. Myself and Laura, Angela, will all be available. So if there's anything that your students need to help them be successful, please do reach out to us and let us know so that we can provide that assistance. Trying to show a video, it's lagging here a little bit. We'll see if it plays okay.
The Schoolcraft Middle College and Schoolcraft CT programs are an awesome opportunity for students. Students can choose to do a 2-year program, and if they did that, they start in their junior year. So they would go their junior and senior year, and they would take college credits in the fall,
Okay,
winter, spring.
I'm going to stop that
By
video.
the time we're done, they would have a certificate, which is a 1-year degree through Schoolcraft College.
Stacey, I can try to play it from the website if you think that will be more
Yes, I'm
beneficial.
going to try to do that as soon as I can stop it, you guys. I'm sorry about that. Okay. I am going to instead show you the video on our website because I think there was just too much lag. And then we will jump to questions and see how we can answer any questions you have. So let me just jump over to that website real quick, and then we'll answer any questions. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again to show you the video one more time. We'll try it down here. You can always come and watch this video again later if that's easier for you.
The Schoolcraft Middle College and Schoolcraft CT programs are an awesome opportunity for students. Students can choose to do a 2-year program, and if they did that, they would start in their junior year. So they would go their junior and senior year, and they would take college credits in the fall, winter, and spring. And by the time that they were done, they would have a certificate, which is a 1-year degree through Schoolcraft College. If you decide to take the middle college route, you'd start as a sophomore. You'd go your sophomore, junior, senior year, and 1 year after high school, which is called the 13th year. Once students are done with the 13th year, they would have an associate's degree from Schoolcraft College.
I'm in the 13th year program where I get my associate's degree for free, paid for by Airport High School. You walk with your class when everybody graduates that year, but you stay a year after to take one high school class online, and you finish out your degree, and then you graduate and get that degree at the end of the 13th year. We take 2 college classes at Schoolcraft College at a time. They are online courses.
One reason we've been so successful is that there's actually a facilitator in the classroom, which is my role. While the students are working, they can get help not only from their peers, but from a teacher. In our building, our math teacher can help our students with our math program and any of the questions they may have if I can't answer them. And we also have English teachers available for any of the English-related class. Because of all these supports we've designed for the students, we've done extremely well over the past 4 years. Our average GPA is a 3.4 amongst everybody in the program, and our passing rate is extremely high.
So it's very easy for us to be successful. We're given a lot of really good opportunities. The students that generally sign up for this program are not necessarily your all-A students. They're students that may have not even thought about going to college, but once they're in this program, they are attending college classes as 10th, 11th, 12th graders, and they're more prepared for the job market when they leave Airport High School.
If you're in this program, the high school and college schedules won't match up perfectly, but we do many things to support the students during these times. You'll have 1 week in the summer where you'll be responsible for working by yourself before you get to class. To help you out with that, we always have an orientation the week before, get you started on your Blackboard and make sure you understand the interface and how everything works so you can do your first week on your own. In the spring, Schoolcraft and the high school will not have the same spring break, but Schoolcraft spring break is always earlier. In order to work with this, I always have all the students get 1 week ahead while Schoolcraft is on spring break. Then when we get to our spring break, the students can take the week off because they're already a week ahead. Students will also have to go 2 weeks into the summer once high school ends. That's the time students use their time management skills they've learned during the year to be responsible and finish out the class strong.
It's very easy to balance out your high school work along with your college work, along with sports and extracurricular activities. I went into the Schoolcraft business program because it can help me with any career I go into in the future.
This program has taught me that I want to major in electrical engineering and computer engineering at Eastern Michigan University.
After the students are done with our program, we've had a lot of our kids go on to a four-year college. So we've had students go to Eastern Michigan, Grand Valley State University, Michigan State University, and a lot of our students are continuing in programs that they started here at the CTE or middle college program in computer programs, computer science, and computer information systems.
I think it's a great program. It's a free way to get a degree to start off and help you where you want to go.
Well, thank you for letting me show that video, because that is a video we filmed with Airport High School, as you saw, who have been our early middle college partners from the beginning. But I thought it would be helpful for you to see from some of the teachers, but more importantly, even the students who have benefited from the program and how it worked for them. So at this point, that concludes most of our presentation, and I want to open it up for question and answers, and we're all here available to assist you. So feel free if you want to unmute to ask a question or put anything in the chat. Aaron, did you have things you wanted to comment on from the presentation?
Just a couple of real quick ones that have come up oftentimes with parents to reinforce a couple of things that you heard the students say as well. But if you're in the associates program, you will walk with your regular class. You'll still maintain your class of 2025 status or 2024 status. You'll walk with them. You'll have a diploma like everybody else. It'll just won't have the piece of paper inside. The following year, you'll finish that one high school class, finish the rest of Schoolcraft's associates. We pay for it all, and then you get your diploma and your associate's degree simultaneously. But we don't want our students to be slighted by their senior year with all their friends. For all intents and purposes, they will be the same. And to reinforce, those courses taken at Schoolcraft will be replacing courses at Northville High School. So you won't take them in addition to, you'll take them in place of. So those 2 classes per semester will remove 2 classes from your high school schedule. And during those 2 hours, say 1A and 2A, you would be taking those classes in the computer lab or at home, depending on how you choose to structure your day, where you can receive help from a teacher there. Mr. Pollard is our online mentor as well. Our students in this program will be assigned to a seminar together in a cluster, most likely with one of our business department teachers, because these programs are heavily related to business programs at the high school. So they would be in a seminar with those business teachers who will be able to provide them support and be with them at least every other day for 90 minutes. So between Mr. Pollard in the lab and their seminar teacher, where they'd be assigned with the business person, they'll have someone provide additional support and extra help. One of the questions that came up, or there are quite a few, and we'll go through them. Can students do the EDGE program while dual enrolling? The answer is yes. You can always dual enroll simultaneously, as one of the Schoolcraft faculty already shared. You just want to make sure that you're ready to balance that workload, because that is a lot of college classes at one time, depending on the grade level of the student. The high school does allow for 10 courses to be dual enrolled during their 4-year high school career. The SC EDGE program obviously makes exceptions for that. because we have a special agreement with the state of Michigan, they've agreed to provide funding as part of this program. And we've been working on this application now for 2 years with MPE. And so we have a special agreement with them for the EDGE program, which allows us to offer a lot more classes that will be paid for. But in traditional dual enrollment, they are able to take up to 10 courses over their 4-year high school career. The other question that came up is, do the Schoolcraft courses take the place of Northfield? And like we said, yes, they do. We'll work with you on what those are. Sometimes they might be electives. Sometimes you might replace your English comp class at Schoolcraft with, say, an English 11 or English 12 class that you may need to take for your diploma instead of taking double English. So we'll be working with you to replace those. And again, all of this is paid for as you go along. You have the advantage this year being the first group. So what the board and instruction department have agreed to is, for this first group of students, we will cover all costs to get the program off the ground. So you have the benefit of having all your fees paid for, all your books paid for, all of your tuition paid for. The only thing that may have an additional cost is that last year of the criminal justice program, there are some fees for equipment that you may need to purchase because it'll be your equipment to keep as an officer. And so some of that stuff we'll work out with you in that 13th year, if that's something you choose to do. And then someone asked about 504 accommodations. The good news in this program is that you're being supported from both sides. So 504 accommodations will be supported on the high school side, because remember, your child will be at the high school for the most part. They won't see the Schoolcraft campus unless they choose to go there for support services, to use the fitness center or the library. They'll be at the high school for the most part. So we'll provide a lot of those. But on top of that, as was answered in the questions, Schoolcraft has an amazing disability support service office that provides additional support for students with IEPs and 504s who need additional support and help. We'll be able to provide that for you throughout the program. So we certainly will be able to help do that. I think this question was answered in the text, but does having an associate's degree over certificate or dual enrollment classes give students an advantage when applying to 4-year colleges? How does having an associate's degree help if you plan to go on to a 4-year school after? Do you want to elaborate on that at all, or we just want to point people to that answer here that Lori's included?
Sure, and maybe Lori, would you like to elaborate on that one?
Sure.
From the transfer
Yeah.
list?
So what I was trying to say in my response is that it really depends on your child's major and the school they wish to transfer out to. So sometimes we see in this program where a student earns a certificate or an associate's in computer information systems, but they really want to go into biology. So for obvious reasons, those classes that are in computer information systems won't transfer into that major. But all the general education classes will transfer. For instance, your English, the math, the psychology, the speech, those are considered general education classes. So it always depends on the student's selected major and the school they wish to transfer out to.
And then one of the other questions is, are the SCH programs asynchronous? I think that's probably a little definition we'll put to it. When they're online classes and they are self-paced, but that doesn't mean they're completely asynchronous. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Sure. So basically, for the most part, the students would log in and complete the assignments by the due dates. It's not going to be typically with a live instructor. They're going to be pre-recorded with the assignments, and the students will be doing the work as they log in. There can be instances, we're always looking at bringing out new programs, so that's always an option. If a class wasn't offered and that the only option was for it to be offered with a instructor in a synchronous manner, then that's a format we might have to do. So there can be changes, but in general, it's going to be in an online asynchronous format.
Will the students take high school classes during the day and SE classes in the evening, or will they be incorporated? Again, they'll be incorporated in the daily schedule. The only choice you'll have to make as a parent is if you want them to take those classes with us in the lab, where there's an adult there to supervise them during the day, or sometimes because it might be a class they can't leave and come back for, or if you want to sign them up to leave, or like they might set them as their 3B and 4B classes, and then they would just leave at lunchtime every other day, and they'd be responsible for working at home. That's a choice you'll make, but they will have a place at the high school to do that. They will not necessarily have to take them in the evening. They're not scheduled classes the way that some college classes are. Can someone speak to how the EDGE or certificate programs impacts NCAA eligibility?
For that one, I would personally encourage families to reach out individually. That's not our area of expertise. And we don't want to potentially give any wrong information. That's my advice. Lori, do you have anything additional to add to that?
Yeah, I would have to talk to our director of athletics about that. But that's a good question. And if you want to give someone from Northville your contact information, they can share it with us and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, certainly feel free to email me. My last name, first two initials, Boffman AA at northvilleschools.org, or you can send it to Northville Schools at Northville Schools at northvilleschools.org, and it'll get it to a general mailbox. What happens if a student can complete the program? Do you have to pay back the tuition and fees? No, you do not. We understand that things happen. We are asking for you to make a commitment. Certainly one of the values of this program is during the 13th year, the district does make back some of the money that we are spending those first 3 years that will allow us to help pay for the program. But we do understand that life's circumstances change. The one thing we will work with things on, like for example, senior year, we're going to make sure you're in a math class, because if for some reason you don't come back to that 13th year, we want you to be able to get a diploma still. We just need to know early if there's a change, but we are asking to make a commitment, and we may have to make some adjustments to schedules, but we certainly wouldn't require people to pay back tuition and fees, much like we would in full enrollment. What would a student's NHS schedule looking like? To the Schoolcraft take place? So some electives, some not. So like we're going to replace some classes with like English and math may replace actual English and math classes. Otherwise, it may be a lot of elective spaces that are taken. For example, the business and computer science courses are electives typically at the high school anyway. So we use those in a lot of ways for electives. Because they're full semester programs and students need to complete NHS graduation requirements. Yes, but we will again work with you. And because this is a program approved by the Michigan Department of Education, we can replace an English 12 credit with a Schoolcraft English credit. So we can make that happen. It's not going to require additional work. It's actually just going to kill two birds with one stone sometimes and make it much easier for you to get that done. But we'll make sure they get graduated and get a diploma and an associate's degree, typically about a week apart from the sounds of it. So they'll graduate pretty much the same time with both of those documents in hand. If a student struggles and decides to opt out, what happens? We'll just readjust their schedule. If they finish a course, they'll have those college credits. They're theirs to keep forever. We're not going to take them back. They don't disappear. But we would just need to modify their schedule moving forward and make sure that they're back in line to a traditional 12th grade graduation and make sure that they have everything they need to make that happen. We just need to know as early as possible if something is going to change so our counselors can make those adjustments at the high school level. Can you apply to other universities during the 12th grade while part of the associate's degree? I'll leave that one to Schoolcraft if somebody has that answer. Can they apply to other universities while they're completing their associate's degree?
Yeah, they can do that. Mm-hmm. And actually was emailing back and forth with some parents who were asking me about that. So you can be dual enrolled in two colleges. It's kind of, or simultaneously enrolled. I don't want to get the term confused. But dual enrollment, you can simultaneously enroll. However, the students will have a pretty rigorous schedule that 13th year. They'll be going full-time college at Schoolcraft. So just keep that in mind that we don't want to overwhelm them, but it is an option.
Aaron, can I just, somebody asked a question about Blackboard and the tests. Oh, Aaron, are you going to answer that one?
I was just going to mark it as soon as you answered it.
Okay, so all the tests for the online courses are going to be done in that environment. Only the math class is going to require either you to come to campus or do it through proxy. So what we do right now with our other partner is that the instructor actually has the copies of the exam and gives them out during the SC Edge class time. And they're an approved proxy. So we'll work with you on that. And if the student is going to that online lab, we can work with that facilitator. But if you're going to choose not to do that lab, then you'll have to come to campus to take the math exam.
And that's similar to how we handle online classes now, even if they're for high school credit only. For the finals, we do expect students to come in to take the final with Mr. Pollard in the lab. So we can arrange it either at Schoolcraft or at Northville High School and make that happen.
Great.
Not sure if I missed this. Is the last high school class given online, or will the student need to come into school after they've walked? So the last will be online. So once they walk graduation, they won't see the inside of Northville High School unless they need something. They will be an online student only, attending Schoolcraft classes predominantly during that 13th year, with just one straggler laying out there for the high school. Just allows us to continue to get funding and pay for the program. So it's that one piece that keeps you connected and allows us to keep getting the state of Michigan to pay for all those classes and fees and books. So it's just one online class, probably taken through one of our third parties like Michigan Virtual. We typically will hold back something very simple that they can complete during that 13th year while they finish a heavier load of Schoolcraft College courses. Other than acquiring more credits, what are the advantages of getting an associate's degree over a certificate?
Well, we can do this. Oh, go ahead, Laura. Good.
No, I was just going to say that's an excellent question. So it really depends, again, what is the student's goal? So the advantage obviously is financial, but the other advantage is if you're following the same major and you know which school you want to transfer out to, you can take care of a lot of those courses, whether they're freshman, sophomore level courses, or maybe even junior level courses. You can take care of them now while you're in high school. So it's going to cut your degree completion time significantly. So where other people, it might take them 4.5 to 5 years to complete a bachelor's degree, you guys are going to be done pretty quickly. But again, it has to be apple for apple. So it can't be computer science and you want to go into biology. So.
And another component of that is it is nice to have a degree along the way. Sometimes life happens. And so students would have an associate's degree. That's something they can put on their resume. They can start getting some employment. A lot of our students have taken the associate's degrees and started working using those. So that is another component of it to consider along with the transfer.
And remember, at Northville High School, we require a great deal of elective credits for 28.5 credits to be graduated in a time period in which you can earn 32 credits. And so again, by killing two birds with one stone, getting high school credits and simultaneously with college credits, you are getting a time advantage as well as a financial advantage, because you're getting, those classes are counting twice for you. They're counting towards what you would have been doing when you were 19, 20, 21 years old, and they're getting through that high school diploma at the same time, while otherwise you would be taking a lot of other electives, which would be fine, but they're not going to give you that college credit the way that these programs will. Who would NHS would contact to find out which classes would count? It will be your counselor. For the first year, they're most likely in those programs going to be in elective type classes because they're computer science, business, or criminal justice related. They don't usually get into those English and math classes until at least their 11th grade year, but their counselor would be able to work with them on making those matches and seeing what makes the most sense for them based on their transcript of what classes they've already completed and where they're at. Some kids may want to go on and take calculus and not want to replace the math, so we can look at replacing elective instead. So we just work with each kid individually, so your counselor would help you do that. We've worked with them already. They've met with Schoolcraft. They know all about these programs and are able to help you as early as tomorrow if you have questions about making that switch over. If you've already scheduled, that's fine. Everyone has. It's okay to be able to say, I changed my mind, I want to do the EDGE program. They know that, and they're ready to make those changes to your schedule if you choose to do that for the fall. Can a 10th grader apply for the associate's program and then change to a certificate? I would assume yes, but I'll ask the folks from Schoolcraft.
So entering 10th grader is pursuing the 13th year, which is the associates. But all programs except criminal justice, they earn a certificate along the way too. So they're going to actually earn both a certificate and an associate's degree. For criminal justice, we don't offer a certificate in that program. It's just an associate's. So if you're a 13th year student, you're getting 2 credentials.
And then we have a student who asked, if I'm going into 11th grade and I do the program 11th and 12th grade, would I get credits for my classes or need to finish the program? You would also receive credits. Again, we would work with you as part of the EDGE program to replace some of your classes that you're taking with EDGE in order to replace. Again, you're going to take 2 classes per semester and 1 in the spring, just like our associates, except you're just going to do 2 years instead of 4 years. So we would count those classes. You would be able to use those to replace electives or other courses, depending on what you're taking. So it wouldn't just be for associate students, it'd be anyone in the EDGE program. And then Priya asked, would we have a different high school and college GPA, or would the SE Edge classes factor into the high school GPA? So that's an interesting one. It always becomes an issue. So starting 2 years ago, any student who dual enrolls in Northville High School, those classes do come back to your GPA. So they would be affecting your high school GPA, which is why we're proud to hear that 3.5 is the average GPA of a student in this program. They have a lot of support, and we work really hard to make sure those students are successful, but it would count in your GPA overall. There isn't a way for that not to occur. So it would follow the same rules as dual enrollment does now. And what's the deadline to make a decision? I know that we have a soft deadline and a hard deadline. Stacy, what are those?
Well, ideally, we would like to know as much as possible by around June 1st, because as I mentioned previously, we'd like to put the students in the classes as a cohort. So that's our, I would say, our soft deadline, because, you know, if we find out after the fact, which we can work with people, there would not be the guarantee of the classes being the same. So if you know your student decided after that deadline they wanted to do the program, they might have to be in a different class than the other students in the program if there wasn't any room left in that class. That's the only consideration. And it looks like the next one was, is there a cap on the number of students? I don't think we have a cap at this point, but we're kind of just, this is the first year, so we're just trying to assess the interest level. Any thoughts from Northville?
We're open to however many students are interested. I don't anticipate us having so many that we couldn't manage it, but certainly we've committed to whatever it takes to provide this opportunity for kids. The board is supportive. So whoever signs up, we'll find a spot for them. It might mean making a couple of cohorts. The numbers did get too big, but we don't anticipate it for the fall. We just want to get started and off the ground and really give kids a chance. So we hope some folks will take advantage of it, and please answer, ask us any questions that you may have. If you don't have the question tonight, but it comes up, you can email myself, you can email Dr. Stover. Her email address, as well as her colleagues, is in the email you received from me from Northville Schools that had her letter as well as the FAQ in it. You can find her contact information. If it's a Schoolcraft question, you're happy to email me. If I can't answer it, I will find the right answer, a great person for you, and connect you with them. Our high school counselors can get you started. If you're interested in the program, there's an application to complete, and the counselors will help get your schedule modified for the fall to get you 2 classes removed so we can put 2 classes in those places. And again, I want to reinforce, you do have one in the spring, so you'll finish your winter classes with Schoolcraft a little earlier than the high school classes, and start that one spring class that will go till about 2 or 3 weeks after our traditional end of school into late June, early July. All right, that's the last of the questions that are listed here. Is there anyone else who either wants to raise their hand or who wants to add anything to the Q&A? We don't want to cut you off, but certainly understand if you've gotten your answers. Anything else that we can answer for you? All right, I'll remind you that this information is on the Northville website as well as the SE Edge website at Schoolcraft College. If you need any information, a copy of the FAQ or letter that you received that you can't find, you want to see the video again, just let us know. We'll get you connected. If you have any questions that you need repeated, we did record this. We could post this recording as well, so you can go back and rewatch any of the answers to questions you might have, or to share with anyone else that might be interested in the program. And I'm just going to linger here for just a moment and see if anyone else pops in. Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate you being here tonight. All right, if that is all, we will leave you for this evening. And again, remind you, feel free to reach out, ask any questions. Hope that some of you will take advantage of this. We're excited about the possibility and hope to see some of our Northville kids graduating with an associate's degree in just a few years. Anything else from Schoolcraft staff?
No, we're looking forward to collaborating and partnering, and it's nice to see so many friendly faces on the chat tonight. So feel free to reach out if we can be of any help.
All right, thank you all very much, Schoolcraft staff, for being here. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing the results. See you all later.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.